I was trying to get a good vantage point.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Have you guys made souffles before?
Yeah, I've done one ages ago.
Yeah. Hey, thanks very much for picking the most difficult dish that you could possibly cook and teach
What, sorry?
on the virtual platform as well. Well done.
Sorry, I can't hear. What's that?
I said thanks very much for picking the most difficult dish.
That's
Mick
right.
likes a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it on, I say. Bring it on. Okay, good stuff. Okay, so are you guys ready? So a couple of things. How did you find the recipe when you read it?
I actually found it kind of like, I had to like really read it like lots of times.
It sort of makes you realise why you do work plans and why you. I know that Mick's question was, I do a work plan, because what you do is you rewrite the recipe into the way that your brain registers it. So I had to read it about 4 or 5 times just to get it to understand exactly what they wanted. But there's some really basic techniques in here that'll be really good learning. So, and you just put the butter in, you roll it, and you want to get as much butter on there as possible, because that's going to help when the souffle rises. It's going to, you don't want it to stick to the sides. Then your sugar's going to go in. I've dumped all your sugar in, and you're going to roll the sugar around so that the sugar coats the outside. You've got a pastry brush, go for that. Okay, but I would literally do so that it's well coated in the bottom. So butter, sugar, and I would do more molds than I think you need. Why do they do that, Poppy?
Why do they have some hot and some cold?
Yeah, well, why is the recipe calling for it like that?
So that it cools down so your eggs don't cook, maybe?
Yeah, but if you tried to put hot milk directly into that flour, into that glue, what would happen?
Go lumpy.
Yeah, it just goes lumpy straight away. So the object here is that you've got your yolks, you've got a little bit of milk, you can add the two together.
Add it to the flour.
Add it to the flour, but make a well in the middle, and you're going to make sure that you stir right in the middle and it slowly drags in. It's no different than making the bread we talked about in class. It's no different than making muffins. Anything where there's a liquid, a wet and a dry, rather than you whisk or work your way out. I'm just using a wooden spoon. And what you should have really is just a nice thick batter, and it's enriched. It's full of egg yolks. And Mick, you've got that already?
Yeah.
Yep, spot on. Yep. Well, it doesn't matter whether you use a whisk or a wooden spoon. The question is, if you're trying to add air, certainly a whisk would be the trick. But if you're just mixing, then it's up to whatever tool works the best. One of my tools, I found the whisk, but it just happens to be the world's biggest whisk. How you going there, Paige?
I should have separated the eggs too, I suppose.
It's all right. It's all part of once you've done this once or twice, Paige, you'll be rocking it.
Yeah.
So you've got your batter, you've got your hot milk. Your brain's already thinking about something that you've done in the past, and it's called it'd be called a roux or a choux paste, or it'd be called a white sauce or a bechamel or a velouté. They're all exactly the same. Add the tempered batter, slowly whisk in half the hot milk, making sure to combine the ingredients until they're completely smooth. You're going to temper it. You're going to add a little bit of boiling liquid or milk to it, and you're going to temper it.
So I've just done the yolks, put them in the middle.
Yep. And you've got your yolks, and you've got your
The cold milk.
Cold milk, mix them together, they go in the flour, mix it all together.
Okay.
And you got your zest in there, Paige?
Yep.
Well done.
Mine's still quite thin.
Yeah, it'll go super thick. If you have a look here, this is how thick it's going to be. It's almost to a shoe paste consistency. In fact, so I'd say this will make actually a really good shoe paste at this stage. Oh, it smells good. You want to release some of the heat, and then you want to add the butter. So there is 1.5 tablespoons of butter's got to go in.
Yes.
Is mine thick enough to add the butter yet?
Yeah, that looks good. That's right. Add the butter. And it says stir in the butter. Stir in the butter and then allow it to cool for 10 minutes. And then stir in the vanilla extract. But there's no point in waiting. You might as well just add the vanilla now.
Is vanilla essence okay?
Yeah, whatever you've got. Whatever you've got, whether it's vanilla essence, vinegar, I'd be using that to wipe out your bowls, your cleaners, your whisks. I'm going to go old school to my battery-powered whisk. You've got a fancy.
Are you allowed to use an electric one?
Hey?
Absolutely.
I said, are you allowed to use an electric one?
Yeah, you students got more money than I have. I don't have enough money to afford one of these fancy KitchenAids.
My nana bought me one.
Good for her. Okay, so you got your panade cooling down. You've got some egg whites. You've got a little bit of sugar.
Yeah.
And the trick here is that there should be no egg yolks sitting in those. You know, your whites have to be clean. Do you know what I mean by that, Paige?
Yeah, I've done that before, and it's
Yeah. So the enemy of egg whites is fat. So egg yolks or oil, anything like that. If there's anything in there, use the eggshell to get it out. But you should have 4 egg whites sitting in a nice, clean, sterile bowl.
Yeah.
And then whatever process you're using, I'm actually going to use the hand whisk. And this one's a great big floppy one, so it's got these metal bits and they're really floppy, so it's really good for getting in there and whisking. I break your egg whites first, which just says get them fluffy, okay, before you start adding any sugar. Oh, you can't lick the spoon.
Excuse me.
I've got a very hungry doggy looking to see what's going on.
That's against the rules. He's not allowed.
So no rush, but Paige, when you're ready, you're okay. What I've done is I've got my panades and I've used the same bowl, I've left behind 1/3 of my egg whites. So you're gonna mix it through to try and lighten it up. And this is, the objective here is to sacrifice the first 1/3 of egg whites to try and lighten up the panade. I would give your panade a really good stir or a whisk, whatever it takes, to get the egg whites to go through it. If you let that panade get too cold, then it's going to be really hard for it to go through. I'll be changing over to like a rubber spatula style, because at this stage you want to be doing the folding. So I've sacrificed my first 1/3 of my egg whites. I'm going to sacrifice the second 1/3 of the egg whites. And the idea is that the last 1/3 is going to give you the volume, and the first 2 are sacrificed. And it's just a case of folding it through, making it nice and light. Let's have a look in your bowl, please, Paige. You got your sugar in there, Paige?
Not me. Okay.
So the first third goes in, the second third goes in.
Uh-oh.
Hold up your, turn your bowl inwards, Paige. Let's have a look.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Zero time.
So let's have a look on your bowl. Yeah, perfect. Spot on. Well done.
Win.
Good stuff. Okay, so take your panade and then give it a really good whisk or a mix. Add 1/3 of the egg whites, sacrifice them. Add the second third of your egg whites, sacrifice them. Do you know what I mean by sacrifice, Poppy?
Me or Paige?
Yep. Do you know what I mean by sacrifice?
Me or Paige?
Poppy.
Oh, me. Sorry.
Poppy.
Yeah.
Your name's Poppy, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't hear. So you don't add them all at once because you need some of them.
We got
Yeah.
20
So you sacrifice them. Essentially, you're beating, you're taking the air out of them
Yeah.
Oh, really?
for the
But
third.
you need to be careful with the last third because that's what's like going to make it.
But really, it's only the last third that counts.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the trick. So folding it through.
Add all of your panache.
Sorry.
I know.
Do you add it all?
No. Listen, Paige. Add 1/3 of the egg whites into the panade. Beat it in. Right. Then, once that's mixed in, add the second third in. Fold it in. Once that's mixed in, add the last third. And that's the only one that counts. So what you should now have is a really nice light batter.
Tray and then put them in, or
That's what I was doing.
Perfect. Okay, I've got a tray in my oven already, so I'm going to put it directly onto the tray. And make sure they go in the middle of the oven.
Make sure what?
Make sure they go in the middle of the oven, on the middle shelf. And they've got lots of space between them so that as they're rising up, they don't hit each other. And you want that hot air to go all the way around. Have they reached, do you reckon, how much puff have they got on them, Paige?
Yeah, they've gone like really high.
we've got
Decent.
colour.
Yeah, they look great, Poppy. Well done. I would say they're ready, nice and golden brown on top.
Yeah.
Again, everyone's going to have different size containers, different size molds, different ovens.
I'll take a photo.
Ooh.
Souffle.
And the idea is you want to start, if you're ready, I would say that you want to eat them before they start to collapse. So this one here, you can see I didn't butter it. I didn't have it butter and sugar on this side. And what's happened is it's grabbed on the way up and pulled it over.
Oh.
Whereas these ones are fine. The butter and the sugar's been all the way around the outside. But that was what I did to show you guys how not to do it, eh? You know that, don't you, Paige?
Yeah, one of mine's is a wee bit like that.
Yeah, it just means that you didn't quite get the butter and the sugar correct.
Yeah.
How do you know if it's cooked? Dig into one, have a look, see. There you go. I've got my taste testers coming. They should still be slightly wet and moist. They shouldn't be completely dry. Yep, these ones look lovely. And if you're not going to eat them all now, oh, look at that. And they should collapse as soon as you put a spoon into them. If you've done it correctly, there you go. If you put it, they should collapse. Oh, hot, hot, hot.
Do you want to control them?
Chris.
Wow.
Chris.
Yep.
If you've got a big bowl like mine, you just spoon it out, yeah?
You'd serve it up you'd just serve it to the table, as in the big bowl.
Yeah.
And you would then, and people go, ooh, wow, look at that. And then they can just eat straight from it. Or, so you serve it out of there.
Yeah.
I've always done individuals because obviously everyone wants their own these days.
Yep.
Mine's quite eggy.
They are eggy, aren't they?
Okay.
And you can put orange at the bottom of the container. You can put some orange segments. So well done. Have a great Easter, guys.
Yeah, cheers.
We'll say